whatever. And of course, if you have it and you're handed that, it's a gift. You don't brag about it, but you have to work hard at it. And if you have that gift and you don't work hard at it, you're not going to get any place.
Arnold Newman was known as one of the first photographers who began to shoot a style called environmental portraiture. Instead of him using a person in his image or just lighting the backdrop, he put the person in a certain environment which represented who they were, what they did, and showed a bit of their personality. This was a style which I believe he was most known for, and a style which I believed he had mastered in his career as a photographer. Born in Manhattan, Newman grew up in Atlantic City. Later on in his life, in 1936, he moved to Florida, Miami, where he started his painting and drawing course at the University of Miami. Unfortunately, after 2 years of studying, he couldn't afford the university fees, so he moved to Philadelphia to work for a studio making 39-cent portraits in 1938. 4 years after, in 1942, he moved back to Florida, where he managed a portrait studio after gaining experience over the years of making portraits. One of his most important steps for him in his career was when he relocated to New York City and opened Arnold Newman Studios to work for as a freelance photographer. Over his career, he worked for famous media outlets like Fortune, Life, Newsweek and Harper's Bazaar. Throughout his career, he took portraits of many famous people who are icons of the industry or well known internationally. Some of those names include John F. Kennedy, Picasso, Andy Warhol, Marilyn Monroe and many more. His success as an environmental portrait photographer in this area was extremely significant in the photography industry. Arnold Newman was in the photography industry for many years, even though that may seem like a long enough time for technology to improve, but only in recent years has DSLR and mirrorless cameras have been introduced and mass produced. Because Newman died in 2006, he wasn't around when technology in photography had massively improved. So throughout his career, he only really used large and medium format cameras, as they gave the best image quality when he was a photographer. The main cameras he was known for using are the Acura Swiss 4x5, which he used in most portrait photos, and the other camera he was known for to use was when he was travelling was the Rolleiflex medium format camera. In 1963, Arnold Newman was assigned by Newsweek to take one of the most famous and controversial photos ever taken in his career. This was a portrait of a German businessman called Alfred Crump. Alfred Crump and his father, Gustav Crump, had built up their business empire largely through the early support of the Nazi Party, and heavily profited from the use of slave labour during the Second World War to supply arms for the Nazi Party. Newman set his lighting either side of Crump's face. This was so that there was no shadow on either side of his face and would show a clear image. But for a second, Crump moved his face slightly forward so that there was a shadow running down the middle of his face. This created a slightly ghoulish shadow and revealed in the... Newman was very well known for editing his photos in the darkroom. The main techniques he used to perform these images were cropping the image and superimposing other images on top of each other. Two famous examples are Igor Stravinsky and Andy Warhol. With the famous portrait of Igor Stravinsky, which was taken in 1946, Newman chose the final photo he wanted to choose for Newsweek, but in the darkroom he cropped the photo heavily. The reason why he decided to cut away most of the piano and Stravinsky is because he wanted the shape of the piano and the stand and Stravinsky at the bottom of the piano to resemble the shape of a music note. This became Igor Stravinsky's signature image. Newman's portrait Andy Warhol was first thought as a failure by him, because of the short time he had to photograph Warhol and he only took a few portraits at an awkward and unflattering angle. But because Newman wanted to salvage the photos, he decided to cut parts of the photos and superimpose them onto each other, which created a really unique style and expressed Andy Warhol's personality extremely well. Here are a few examples of me superimposing other images on each other, like Newman did with Andy Warhol's portraits. Even though some of Newman's work is decades old, do you think it still holds up today?
Absolutely. I think in terms of things like photography and the visual image, it doesn't matter how long ago something was taken in terms of photography or painted. If the composition is there, if the subject matter is there, absolutely. Looking at the images that you've shown me, Ethan, I would say definitely if that was still in an art gallery today, people would still connect with it.
How do you think technology has improved since the development of film to digital?
I mean, in terms of, there's the obvious thing that you don't have to wait for things to be developed anymore. It's instantaneous, isn't it? And that instantaneousness of digital photography means that it's opened up to a much wider market. So it's now available on your phone, for example. I mean, everybody's got a camera in their pocket these days. In terms of things like DSLRs, anybody can access it. It's become much more of a anybody can pass themselves off as a photographer now. So it kind of, in some ways, it makes it harder, but if you are a really talented photographer, you really stand out then from the crowd of kind of amateurs.
Do you feel film photography feels more real as in a photo, and feels more authentic than digital photography?
I think certainly has its place. There's certain things, again, if it's done right, yeah, you can always tell when somebody's done something on film, and I think there's that kind of dedication, craft, and that sort of love for it to actually go through that process now, rather than just pulling a phone out your pocket and going.
Do you think his work is inspiring?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the images that I've researched before this interview, there's definitely elements of it that would inspire my own work. Some of the work I've seen from you previously, yeah, 100%.
Nice. I believe Arnold Newman is one of the most influential photographers of his time, pioneering and popularising the environmental portrait. Having worked for magazines such as Life, Fortune and Newsweek, and photographed figures from John F. Kennedy to Pablo Picasso and Frank Lloyd Wright.